It ain't over yet, folks. Welcome to the Just Baseball Show. It is Tuesday, October 7th, and I'm welcomed by Ryan Finkelstein. I am Peter Apple, and guess what we're here to do, folks? We're here to talk about the Yankees, but also the Mariners winning Game 3, and it's all brought to us by the sportsbook born in Vegas. Remember, folks, download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android, and use promo code Just Baseball. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first wager loses. Just remember, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER-FINK. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. Start spreading the news. Oh, man, what a win. Oh, man, what a win. In this episode, we are also going to preview all of the Game 4s. Damn right, Fink, all of them.
We got four. We got another wild day of baseball. Didn't know if we'd have another full slate. I got to say, the energy is infectious right now. I think I showed up, or I came into the night kind of hoping that I'd get to soak up some Peter tears. I think there's a lot of the audience that wanted that too. But at the same time, I mean,
you and all of them could suck it. No tears coming out of these eyes, but can we do a circle of trust thing for a second? Can we do a circle of trust thing? I did make a recap video in like the third inning, and I deleted, right, because I have my Google Doc, all ready with the stats and stuff and all of the Game 4 previews and everything that we're going to go through, and I deleted it off the top. I just deleted Cab Schlittler versus TBD. I was like, all right, I'm not going to have to do this. Damn it. And I aggressively was hitting the delete button. It wasn't just I highlighted it and deleted it. I deleted every letter because that's how upset I was. But guess what? The letters are back, and we're here to talk about it. Which one do you want to start with? You want to start with the Yankees? Because I kind of want to start with the Yankees.
We got to start with the Yankees. We got to start with the big story of the night, which was you waving the white flag in the third inning, if I watched that video correctly. But it worked out for you. Reverse jinx. You knew it all along. Reverse jinx.
I'm an honest guy. It wasn't a reverse jinx. Like, I can't lie to the people. I wasn't reverse jinxing. I was so down in the dumps. I mean, we're going to talk about it. I just want to thank everybody coming in to watch us on YouTube. Another reminder, outside of the Monday night video that normally goes out on Tuesday, because those will be on Sports Grid, the rest of the week, Sunday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, we will be live here on YouTube, and then you'll be able to listen to the audio wherever you listen to your podcasts, as well as then watch the live stream again on YouTube. So again, thank you everybody for joining, and get ready for an absolute banger of an episode. And let's start with the Yankees win 9-6. Let's recap it real quick. Vladdy ripped a 2-run shot in the first, improving his batting average to 1,000,000 against the Yankees, and it felt like all hope was lost. Stanton grabbed one back in the bottom half, but then the Jays added 4 more on RBI singles from Dalton Varsho, Clement, and Anthony Santander, and I made a stupid reaction video saying that the series is over. I am such a dumbass because the Yankees just kept fighting. An RBI double by Judge and a sac fly from Stanton narrowed Toronto's lead to 3. And then in the bottom of the fourth, Aaron Judge walks to the plate, and we're all thinking to ourselves, please, it's been a lot of singles. He's got a .474 batting average. We love it, but we need the moment. And the moment found him. Blast one off the foul pole, a 3-run shot to tie it, and tied David Ortiz for the most home runs with 6 in an elimination game. What are they going to say now? Jazz followed that up with a homer and a bat flip to boot, and then Austin Wells added another run on an RBI single. A sac fly from Ben Rice gave them some breathing room, and that was that. Now, both Carlos Rodon and Shane Bieber, especially Rodon, giving up 6 earned, those guys had issues. But the difference in this game was the bullpens, as the Yankees went 6 2/3 of shutout baseball. And Ryan, we're still alive. Let me hear your reaction as an outsider.
Well, first, I think there's one big thing that you glossed over there.
What?
Which is Addison Barger dropping a pop-up that helped set up that moment for Aaron Judge. I mean, I know the Blue Jays fans out there, if this series goes the other way, I mean, Addison Barger might have to find a new team because I don't know if they'll ever forgive him for dropping that pop-up. I mean, that's a big momentum swing for a team that just needed a break. And once the Yankees get a break, you get that home run. That was, I mean, even as someone that clearly is not a Yankees supporter, that was one of the coolest home runs I've ever seen by Aaron Judge. I mean, just like he had to hit it so hard to keep it fair because of the trajectory of that ball. And when it hits off that foul pole, it's crazy. And one of the biggest momentum shifts you can see in a series in one swing, because now, I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but that was a massive home run by Judge, and hopefully it can flush some of these narratives. Because I think Aaron Judge was becoming like the Clayton Kershaw of hitters, where all we can ever talk about is what he doesn't do in October, and he's having a pretty damn good playoffs right now.
Yeah, he's hitting over 500. He's got an OPS north of 1,300. It's pretty damn good. Couple of things on the Addison Barger point. Totally agree with you. I didn't mean to gloss over it, of course. I was just talking about the high-level stuff. But yes, Addison Barger, that was a bad drop, which set up that inning. Here's the thing. You got to blame Addison Barger, of course. Catch the ball. You're a Major League Baseball player. Left fielder's got to get that. Yeah, that's a left fielder ball. And the wind must have been swirling because you see him camp under it and then just make a mad dash towards the line. Wind must have picked it up. Maybe it was a spirit blowing the ball a little bit, just giving them an inch. And once the Yankees got that inch, they took the mile. About the home run, I'm just sitting there praying, saying obscene things in order to get a home run, promising things. I got a lot of demons now that I got to address. I promised so many things. And Aaron Judge takes that pitch, right? Because the pitch before was a fuzzball up in the zone, and he was just under it. And Aaron Judge, what I was upset about him doing in the regular season that he wasn't doing, or excuse me, didn't do in the regular season, did in the playoffs, was this over-aggressive nature, swinging at pitches that he doesn't normally do. That was what Aaron Judge does in the regular season. You can't miss twice. And Louis Varland didn't even miss with that pitch. It was a painted fastball at 99, 100 miles an hour in on his hands. But since Judge had just seen that pitch, he timed it up perfectly, got the barrel through the zone, and you said it perfectly. He had to hit it so damn hard just to keep it fair. And him just staring up at it. Our guy Peyton, shout out at Big League Analysis. You got to go check out his TikTok if you haven't already. I assume you have. We've talked about him a ton on this show because he's awesome and he edits all our YouTube videos. He was at the game and he took this video of Judge just standing there. And then that backflip, the bat flip. I've watched that 6-second clip maybe 700 times. I think I'm all the views on that post. That was so cold-blooded.
You know, it was to me even more cold-blooded was when he came back in and looked in the camera. Like he looked in the camera and then looked back again. Like, I mean, that's that.
That was, and just goes, I'm Aaron fucking Judge.
I'm the man. Yeah.
Believe in me. And you know what, Judge? Thank you. You're on my wall, brother. Thank you. Thank you, because that was embarrassing up to that point. I thought what I said on the reaction video made sense until they made that comeback. And the Yankees, John Smoltz said it on the broadcast as well. That was their largest comeback in the franchise's history in an elimination game. Wow. The fight that they showed there. And then Jazz Chisholm, he needed that too. The go-ahead home run, because Jazz, before that, his OPS had dropped to under 400 in the postseason. The only real big moment for him is running around the bases in order to score, which was a huge play. And he's played good defense. But that's a momentum driver for him, because he had been arguably the second best player on the Yankees this year. Of course, you have Max Fried, but I'm talking about in the lineup. Like he is an emotional guy and he runs on emotion. So you can see when things start to go bad, his play follows. But that is something that can then catapult him into game 4. So the Judge home run was speechless, otherworldly enormous. But even Jazz getting that big hit, I thought it was huge. And the Yankees bullpen.
Yeah.
Because, you know, going into the series, or really just going into the playoffs, really the last, you know, second half of the season ever since the deadline, the bullpen has been an issue, a huge one. Who can you trust outside of Bednar? And in the playoffs, they've been good outside of some Luke Weaver mishaps. But this game, 6 2/3, Camilo Duvall, Tim Hill, Devin freaking Williams. Devin Williams in his last 12 1/3, scoreless. We saw those demons last year exercise in the playoffs, not this year. Devin Williams, massive in this game. And then Bednar coming in for the 5-out save. What an addition by Brian Cashman. Now, are they going to win tomorrow? I have no idea. We're going to talk about it after we talk about Mariners versus Tigers. But I just needed that for my soul. I needed it for just my heart, Fink.
I'll give you one more thing, too. The Aaron Judge diving catch. I mean, the biggest inning for the Yankees bullpen was that 6th inning to put up a 0 after, or I guess it would have been the 5th inning. After they got the big home run to put up a 0 to stop that Blue Jays offense from answering back, because if Toronto answers back, then the momentum really, can go right back into Toronto's favor. So the diving catch too for Judge, got to shout that out. And then, yeah, I mean, the bullpen was nails. Tim Hill, man, it's crazy how good that guy is, because he doesn't look like a dominant reliever, but man, he gets outs.
We talked a lot about the Yankees. What did you think about the Blue Jays side? Like, what should Blue Jays fans be thinking after a game like this?
I mean, they still got out to the 6-1 lead. I think that this offense is legit. I think the only thing that would have me nervous as a Blue Jays fan is who's going to be on the mound for the Yankees in the next game here, because you'll watch what Cam Schlittler did in an elimination game before. So now here you go again. So I think, they still have the series lead. They still got game 5 at home if it gets to that point. But it felt like, as you were putting you were waving your white flag in the 3rd inning, it felt like they had the series wrapped up. And so whenever you go from feeling like it's on ice to, oh no, we just let the Yankees back in it, I'm sure that there's not a Blue Jays fan out there that's completely comfortable and confident today. Because
that is a type of win that could catapult a comeback to 100%. Win the series. Because it's different if the Yankees just won a 5-3 game, they got a lead early and then just won the game. That's a little bit different than this type of comeback.
They were on the brink. I mean, they were on the brink and then they stormed back. Yeah.
We know how the playoffs work. It's hard to quantify momentum, but we all know it as sports fans. So the Yankees, if they're able to mount the comeback, they know over the next 2 games, even if there is, because again, the next game is going to be an elimination game, they know that they could mount a comeback against any hill. They can climb anything. Where the Blue Jays know, even if they get a lead, they have to make sure to slam the door. So even if they get a lead, I feel like that pressure is still going to be on them. Now, with that said, the Blue Jays had played perfect baseball really until the Addison Barger era.
Yeah.
And then the Yankees bullpen just shut the door, but the Blue Jays offense had already put up 6 runs that game. Like, the Blue Jays offense has been objectively awesome. Bieber didn't really have it tonight. The bullpen, not a great performance. You hope that they can bounce back. I'm trying to be even-keeled here and give the Blue Jays some credit, but how can I after a win like that? I'm serious. How can I? I mean, how would you feel? How would you feel after that?
I would be just as fired up as you right now, and I would have absolutely no doubts on my team at this moment right now. If Vladdy hits another 2-run homer in the 1st inning tomorrow, the doubts are going to creep right back in. But for now, I think you're safe for it's solid. I don't know when first pitches, but you got like maybe 16 hours of feeling really good. So enjoy it while you got it.
This is really testing my unbiased journalism. It really is. I mean, I'm trying to go to the break here for the listeners of the Just Baseball Show, but it's tough. It's tough. But what we're going to do after a quick break, we're going to talk about Mariners Tigers Game 3. Back in a sec. What a performance by Seattle today. Mariners win Game 3, 8-4. They jumped on Jack Flaherty in the third, scoring the first on a base hit by J.P. Crawford. The throw home by Riley Green skipped under Dylan Dingler's glove, allowing the run to score. And they gave the error to Riley Green, which I thought was weird. I mean, Dylan Dingler, you got to get in front of that, or he cut it off. I just didn't think the error should go to Riley Green. Doesn't really matter. Run scored, and then Randy Arozarena punished them with an RBI single. In the fourth, Gino Suarez homered, his first of the postseason, and then Cal Raleigh drove in the fourth with a single. Kerry Carpenter would grab one back for Detroit in the fifth, but in the sixth, J.P. Crawford went yard, and then in the eighth, drove in another run on a sac fly. In the ninth, Cal Raleigh joined in on the home run party, and every run matters as the Tigers put up a late rally in the bottom of the ninth against Caleb Ferguson, and Seattle had to bring in Andres Munoz, which is a small win for Detroit here, to shut the door just to see him again. But of course, he did just that. Mariners take a 2-1 series lead on the backs of their pitcher, Logan Gilbert. 6 innings, a 1-run ball with only 4 hits allowed, 7 punch-outs. I noted in an earlier episode, I wasn't doubting him. I just said 4.74 ERA on the road. How will he perform? He shut all of us up. Jack Flaherty, this ain't the Cleveland Guardians, with all due respect to Cleveland. Allowed 4 runs in 3+ innings. As a Tigers in 5 guy, this was the Mariners that I was a little bit worried about, where the things on the margins wouldn't really matter if their offense came to play. And again, we had concerns about the Mariners. Their road issues are well known. Now, they shut the door on that to end the season, but if you look at the totality of the season, that was a major sticking point for them. But this was their best game of the postseason so far. I know it's only 3 games, so it's not saying a whole lot, but the offense came to play. Outside of Caleb Ferguson, the bullpen was great. I mean, Munoz, as soon as he came in, he was dominant. You got home runs from Cal Raleigh, from Gino Suarez, 8-run performance, J.P. Crawford. And then I just think about the Tigers. I'm like, God, if you can't even get close to hanging there, Game 4, what are we going to talk about with them? What do you think?
I think when you really look at these two lineups, I mean, the Mariners should win this series. And I think this is sort of validation for the years of all of us complaining about the Mariners not getting a lineup to support that pitching staff. They finally have it. And it's funny because during the season, the rotation wasn't really as good as been in years past. But I think you're seeing now in the playoffs just the ability to have a good starter on the mound for each game. And here Logan Gilbert doesn't get the ball until Game 3 and probably puts up the best start they've gotten so far. So this Mariners team can really go on a run here, especially if the bats can hit like this. I mean, I think it helps when, it's Flaherty and then the Tigers on the other side of it just don't really have a lot of other good options outside of Skubal. But I think the Mariners really should win this series, especially now that they had the lead. I mean, you want to try to win it in 4, though. You don't want to see Skubal in Game 5. So, I mean, there is definitely that pressure on them to still win this series on the road, because even though you feel good about being home, you don't feel good about the guy you're going to be facing.
I'm just pulling up right now the Tigers stats because just watching their lineup.
It's bad, man.
It's bad. I mean, Kerry has had a good start to the postseason, big-time home run in Game 1. Glaber's had some good at-bats. He went 2 for 4 today, improving his OPS to 616. Cole Keith, I know he's coming back from an injury. Hard to really blame him, but 453 OPS in your 3-hole from your DH? Your DH 3-hole guy, 453 OPS. Riley Green, 2 punch-outs today. Spencer Torkelson, big time hit in the late innings, but in 182, McKinstry 053, Dingler 095. I mean, you just go through the lineup. Who's going to come up with the big hits?
You know what's crazy for me? Because of like grading it on a curve of this lineup, I would have thought that Torek had like an 800 OPS in the playoffs because he's been like one of the few guys who I'm like, okay, they got a shot here with Torek up and he's hitting 182. Like I was just shocked looking at the stats there.
So that's exactly why I wanted to pull him up, because I didn't even want, because watching the games, like, it's bad, but it doesn't feel that bad.
Yeah.
But really, when you look at it, because I was looking at it during the game, I'm like, damn. Like, Kerry Carpenter's leading the team with a 779 OPS. Yeah. That's what we're dealing with here with Detroit. Like, we could talk about Skubal pitching. They lost that game because they're not putting together consistent ABs. And it's not where they're making a lot of contact. They're putting the ball in play. They're putting pressure on the defense, and it's not working. It's still the strikeout bug that has hampered them all season long. So they're not even really able to get anything going because that big strikeout ends up killing them, it feels like, every single time. And especially with their big guys. I mean, Riley Green is in the middle of the lineup. He has to be great for them to have a chance in the series.
And you know what? Also, credit to Logan Gilbert, but one walk too. One walk. Yeah. So you're not getting any traffic on the bases that way either. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. That lineup is just it certainly doesn't feel like a lineup that can actually make a really deep run in October. I mean, they could still find their way through this series, but at some point that lineup is going to catch up to them, and I think it's catching up to them right now.
Anything else on Mariners Tigers before we move on to some Game 4 previews?
I don't think so.
All right, folks. We'll be back in a sec. We got 4 games to preview. We're going to go Mariners Tigers, Brewers Cubs, Blue Jays Yankees, and Phillies Dodgers. We'll be back in a sec. All right, let's talk. We'll stay on that same series because we're going to go chronological order through these games based on the time that they are playing. It was just announced that Bryce Miller is going to get the ball for Seattle versus Casey Mize. Casey Mize, in his first start, threw 5 2/3, 1 hitter, no runs against the Seattle Mariners. But on July 12th in Detroit, they crushed him for 6 earned in 3 innings. Now, Bryce Miller has not had that great of a season. Just the bottom line. This game was supposed to be probably Brian Wu. Well, actually, Brian Wu was probably supposed to go to Game 2, and this might be Luis Castillo. But regardless, he wasn't supposed to be in their plans, right? But at the same time, like, just because I don't have confidence in him in this start, why am I going to be confident in the Tigers' offense? And then if it's tied late, whose bullpen would you rather have? And that's why it's like, really watching these games, they have to win in low-scoring ball games. And are they going to win in a low-scoring ball game started by Casey Mize, who has been inconsistent to end the second half?
Yeah, it's one of those games where I think the longer that the Tigers can kind of drag it out and keep it in that low-scoring affair, then I actually think in a bullpen game down the stretch at home, maybe they can pull it out. But I could just see the Mariners just ambushing Mize and getting out to an early lead, just kind of rolling in this one, just because, like you said, I don't have any faith at all in that Tigers lineup to keep up. So if the Mariners hang a crooked number early, I mean, that could kind of be a wrap. So it's going to be interesting to see what Mize can do here. I mean, he's got, even though you have your questions, I mean, that's probably the starter you want to have the ball outside of Skubal right now, right? So maybe he can. I don't know who else you really like in that rotation.
I mean, Troy Melton.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can go. My guess is that if Mize struggles early, then Melton would come in. But doesn't it feel like if Mize struggles early, the Mariners are going to win this game?
100%.
And something else that I was looking at that I found kind of interesting, the Mariners actually have a higher WRC plus this season on the road against righties than they do at home. So the Mariners offense, especially against righties, has been awesome in these types of spots. And knowing that they crushed Casey Mize in his last start against them after putting up 8 runs, Like that offense has to be in a very good mindset right now.
Yeah.
Knowing that, all right, all we got to do is focus on Casey Mize and we can win this series. And knowing that they've already hit him before, getting a little bit of that offense going, because in the first 2 games, right, if they won another low scoring game today, I feel like I'd like the Tigers in this one, just because baseball is weird. And if you're not really crushing them and you keep the Tigers in the ball game, they can steal one at home. But in this spot, after that performance, getting a home run over the fence from Cal Raleigh, that's got to feel good. JP Crawford, like everyone was contributing here. It wasn't a one-man show or anything like that. Everyone, it felt like, put good wood on the barrel, or put good wood on the ball. And that's got to feel good going into the next game. Well, Detroit, they had a late run, and you like seeing Munoz again, but Munoz, it's not like he's going to be tired tomorrow. They had an off day yesterday, so his arm is still going to be okay. And if you have Gabe Spire to get out Kerry Carpenter, the lefty, which is kind of the only reason they won the first game, right? If manager Dan Wilson takes out George Kirby, I don't know why my Zoom keeps giving me the thumbs up. If Dan Wilson takes out George Kirby in game 1 and puts in Gabe Spire, I got to put my hands down. They might, it's ruining my train of thought. They might have just won game 3 and be moving on to the American League Championship Series. So knowing all of those things, how can I go away from Seattle in the spot? I just don't. What's the recipe for Detroit? I think Casey Mize has to deliver what he did in his first start, where he threw 5 2/3 of shutout baseball. I just don't see a high-scoring game that Detroit wins, which is probably exactly what's going to happen because it's baseball.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, we'll see the Tigers just somehow just have one of those rallies that we saw that had them beat the Guardians in that wild card round, and all of a sudden, maybe it is a much better offensive output than we're expecting. But I almost don't even think they need like 6 scoreless from Mize. I almost feel like that he just has to put up like 4 zeros at the beginning of the game just to like let them get into the game. And even if he gets pulled in the 5th because you have to go to the bullpen to get you out of a tough spot, I just think he can't give up like an early rally to Seattle, because I just think that'll just give them so much confidence. But I'm looking at these 2 lineups. If you were to just rank like the top 10 hitters in this series, like how many Tigers would even make the list? Like,
well, technically they would have to, because it'd be top 10 and there's 9 hitters in a lineup. So,
I'm just saying, if you're just going through though, like J-Rod, Raleigh, Randy Suarez, like Polanco, I'm just like going through it. And for the Tigers, like Kerry Carpenter and hopefully Riley Green, and then, like Torque. But it's just, I think the lineup discrepancy is kind of crazy, honestly.
I agree. And we're adding Riley Green based on precedent, but he hasn't earned that.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like Torque's been good, but the numbers adjust. He's been horrible if you actually look at the stats.
Because all of Torque's hits have been in big spots so far. So, but credit to him, right?
Yeah,
if you're going to get your hits, make them in big spots, which they have been in every time. Like, if there is a big spot and Spencer Torkelson is coming to the plate, I don't think Tigers fans care about his stats so far. He has proven that he can deliver in these spots, which is enormous. The problem is when it doesn't matter, he's an auto out. So, and with Kerry Carpenter, it's kind of the same thing where his stats don't look great, but all we're remembering is that one big home run from game 1. So I think we're both aligned here. I think we're taking the Mariners to end the series.
Yeah, I think so.
It might just be that way. All right, let's move on to game 3 between the Brewers and the Cubs. But real quick, our Discord has been so much fun. For everybody listening, it's the best baseball group chat in the world. The MLB chat in Discord. We're talking nonstop, instant reactions, talking about specific plays. Of course, you'll get all of my bets as soon as I place them as well. If you're into that, if you're not, don't worry about it, because the Discord itself, just the group chat function with 800 plus diehard baseball fans of all different teams. If you're a Tigers fan, if you're a Mariners fan, Brewers, Cubs, Phillies, Dodgers, Yankees, Blue Jays, they're all in there, and they're all getting as hyped as probably you are on your couch. So if you got $10 laying around for the month, come join us. You can find the link in the episode description. Again, $10, less than a price of a sandwich, just to hang out with a bunch of diehard baseball fans overreacting to every single play. It is so much fun. All right, let's talk Brewers Cubs. Quinn Priester versus Jameson Taillon. A couple of stats before we get going. Taillon versus Milwaukee, 16 innings, 8 earned runs, a 4.50 ERA against them this season. But his last start against Milwaukee in Chicago, he threw 6 innings of 1-run ball. And I also think it's important for Taillon to be pitching back at Wrigley. 3.05 ERA in Chicago, much better than his ERA on the road. And just in general, Jameson Taillon ended the year on a heater, ERA under 2 over his last 2 months. The evolution of the kick change has been huge for Cubs pitcher Jameson Taillon. On the other side, Quinn Priester against the Cubs, not great. Over 3 starts, 14 and a third, 10 earned runs, a 6.28 ERA, think. Ugh. But last start in Chicago, he allowed 1 run on 3 hits and 4 and a third, walked 5, which is interesting, but clearly limited the damage. He's also better on the road this year, a 2.91 ERA, better than his 3.82 ERA in Milwaukee. What I will say is, I was really impressed with Jameson Taillon's 4 innings of shutout baseball against the Padres. But there's something in the back of my head that's saying, how much credit am I going to give him against that Padres offense? I mean, we saw how bad they were. I said the same thing with Flaherty against the Guardians offense, where Jack was talking about, well, Flaherty at least looked good. It's given Detroit a chance. But then I said, am I really going to back Flaherty after he gave up 1 run in 4 innings to the Guardians? That Padres offense looked lifeless. Outside of 1 big Machado home run to Shota Imanaga, who gives up a home run every day anyway, and then a late rally in the bottom of the 9th, that Padres offense did absolutely nothing. This Brewers offense is prolific. Everyone in the lineup is contributing right now. So what I do know is that the changeup has looked a lot better. Against good offenses towards the end of the season, he was dominant, and he's got to feel confident going into this one at home with 4 innings of shutout baseball already under his belt. And then Priester on the other side, not much success against Chicago. This will be his first postseason start. But over the totality of the season, he's been one of the best ground ball artists in baseball, period. And the Brewers feel good enough about him to give him a Game 3 start on the road. I'm in between on this one. And you know what's funny? Maybe the Yankees beating the Blue Jays made me think, all right, these series ain't over. These series ain't over. The Cubs are still a great team. They're still a great team at home. Now, the Brewers are awesome, and they might end up winning this game. But if I'm a Cubs fan, use that energy from New York. Series ain't over. What are your thoughts on this one?
I said it when I was on the Sunday show that like the thing that could keep the Cubs in this series is just getting back to Wrigley. I think that could be a huge thing for them to just get home. And we'll see. Like you said, I think also that you made a good point. Like I was thinking the same thing. To see the Yankees do it, like why not the Cubs with their home crowd behind them getting back into the series with this game? I think based on what we saw in the first 2 games, I don't think anybody would be picking the Cubs to win this series. The Brewers clearly look like the better team. They're the better team all year.
Yep.
But in this game, I mean, the Cubs can absolutely put up a fight and at least make it a series and nothing else. Do I think that they're really going to win the next 3 games? No, I think the Brewers are going to win this series. But I think the Cubs can win this one for sure.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I'm leaning that way as well. I think Priester might run into issues here. And if Taillon can give them a similar start to what Matthew Boyd did in Game 1 of the wild card series, not dominant, 4 2/3 of 1-run ball. It's kind of asking a lot against this Brewers offense, but can you deliver that? Can you keep your team in the ball game so you can hand it off to guys like Daniel Palencia and Brad Keller and Drew Pomeranz and Andrew Kittredge?
Man,
Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing just because baseball has changed so much
I know.
Where it's like, if you just get your starter into the fourth, I was even thinking, I'm thinking if Tyon goes 3 2/3 of a 1-run ball, that's not that bad, but it's wild how much the game has changed. Where it's hey, can you get me 10 outs, please? Just give me 10 outs.
It's so different because you watch pitchers like Tarek Skubal,
yeah,
Garrett Crochet, Wheeler of old, Blake Snell, Yamamoto go 6-7 innings of Jesus Azardo, 6-7 innings of Christopher Sanchez. He did okay. Regardless, those guys, dominant pitching performances. And then you just get a tier lower. Unless you're a true ace, please get us 10 outs. Just get us to the fourth without getting shelled. And it's funny. A guy like Shane Bieber couldn't do it. A guy like Carlos Rodon couldn't do it. Max Fried did it once, couldn't do it again. If you're not pinpoint, that's how good these offenses are, because their game plans for these pitchers, especially when they've seen them so many times, are perfect. So if they make an inch of a mistake, those offenses will then take a mile, right? We saw that firsthand with the Addison Barger drop. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. These are playoff teams for a reason. We've seen what the Cubs offense looks like when they grab a little bit momentum and they get going. I was in Wrigley for game 2, a game they did lose. What I will say is that crowd never sat down. They were in it throughout, and they're going to be in it throughout in this game. So if they just get a little bit of life, the Cubs can build on that and end up winning this ball game. But what I will say is the Brewers are so dangerous, because let's say the Cubs do get a lead and Tyon does do that. They can't hit the bullpen. They can hit anybody. I mean, the first 5 in their lineup, I feel good about all of them. And then you got Frelick, who's just making contact at every given moment. Blake Perkins putting up great at-bats. Joey Ortiz putting up great at-bats. They're so deep and they're so relentless. And when you let them get on first base, I mean, the Cubs are really good at suppressing stolen bases, but the Brewers are as good of a base running team as we have in Major League Baseball. They'll take that little inch. They're so good around the margins, and they also have that explosiveness in the lineup. So for the Cubs to beat them with their personnel, I feel like they got to be close to perfect here, but I think they can deliver that type of game here. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to win the series, but first game back at Wrigley, I think they win. I could easily see the Brewers winning. But I see the path here for Chicago.
I can see the path to Chicago winning this one. I don't think this series goes back to Milwaukee, though. I really don't.
Especially because then, is Freddie going game 4, or would they save him? I don't think it's been announced yet. It might just be over, so why would they announce? Like, the Brewers could just win the series.
I'm pretty sure with the way that the off days they've had here, I would imagine that he's going to be able to go on regular rest. So I
on
think
game 4.
I think so. Yeah, I'll check real quick here. Let's see. So he pitched on Saturday. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he'd be able to go on regular rest for game 4.
I wonder if.
But you could save him if you wanted to. If you wanted to save him for a game 5 at home, I mean, you could. But they would have him on regular rest, and they might want to just, put their.
If the Cubs do win this game, if I'm them, I think I throw him game 4, because if you're Milwaukee, I'd feel very confident in a bullpen game at home.
Yeah.
With Mizorowski throwing 700 miles an hour, with Abner Uribe throwing 600 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Jared Koenig throwing 100. I saw a tweet today that he came into the Milwaukee Brewers organization throwing 89.3 miles an hour. Now he's throwing 100. They're such a good organization from top to bottom. They're just so good. All right, Fink, you ready to talk about Yankees Jays?
Yep.
All right, we got a bullpen game against Cam Schlittler. Not a ton of stats to bring you for a Toronto bullpen game, because on their roster, I had to remind myself, I was looking at their division series, right? Scherzer ain't on this roster. Bassett isn't either. I got to stop counting with my fingers. Bassett, Scherzer, and Brios not on the roster. Eric Lauer is. Would they feel good about him being the opener? Maybe. I think they're just going to be strategic with their bullpen. I don't know if it might be an Aaron Ashby type opener. Hopefully that's not the results for Toronto, but maybe Lauer goes the first inning. Regardless, bullpen game. On the other side, Cam Schlittler, I'm nervous just talking about it. I can't imagine how he's feeling. His only start against Toronto this season, Fink, he's got one. And it was at Yankee Stadium. It wasn't in Toronto. And let's just address something real fast. Moronic Yankee fans talking about the Blue Jays cheating. You make our fan base look like idiots. They're not cheating. I was going to say a really bad word. They're not cheating. Like that dumbassery. I almost fell into the dumbassery today when I'm making a bad reaction video. I apologize for that. But that stuff like makes our fan base look so bad. Regardless, they're not cheating. 1 2/3, 5 earned at Yankee Stadium. That was back on September 5th. But then we just saw him go 8 innings, strike out 12, 5 hits, no runs against the Red Sox. The Red Sox and the Blue Jays are a very different lineup, with all due respect to the Red Sox. This is a rookie in another elimination game. But I said it at the time, and I'm wondering if you agree. No lineup in baseball could have hit him that day. So if he has that type of stuff, the Yankees can win and move to a game 5. Because I feel confident the Yankees putting up runs against this Blue Jays bullpen game. It really is on the shoulders of Cam Schlittler. I don't think he has to be dominant, but he has to be good. Because there's no guarantee that the Yankees are going to mount this comeback again. Could have been a shot in the dark. It's hard to replicate that type of energy. Yeah. Where are you out on this one? Because you know me, I'm just going to keep going back and forth. Like we could be here for 5 hours just like talking about all the different matchups and all the different ways it could happen.
He set the bar so high for himself that it's almost unfair because those same Yankees fans that think the Blue Jays are cheating are expecting him to go 8 shutty and just completely dominate the Blue Jays. And like you said, that's a much different line than the one that he just saw. Like you said, if he's as dialed in as he was for that game, he's going to be able to handle the Blue Jays. But there was no Vladdy in that Red Sox lineup, and so I think it's going to be if it turns into a battle of the bullpens, then I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But yeah, if he can get you deep into the game, I feel pretty good about the Yankees' chances sending it back. I think the one thing that's interesting is, are the Blue Jays going to kind of hold some of their cards? I know they were talking on the broadcast about would they go to Savage out of the bullpen in this game, and I think you only do that if you have a lead. If you have a lead and you're trying to bridge those middle innings, maybe. But if it's me, I'm just saving Gausman and Savage for game 5, if anything, and just leaving all hands on deck in that game. And this is almost like a house money game. Like if you can get it, great. But if not, I think you have everything set up the way you want it to in that final game of the series.
Because I think Toronto, you got to think if you're a Blue Jays fan, if you're someone in that front office, if you're a player, we feel great at home. We don't care who the Yankees throw out there. They just beat up Fried. Why would they not feel confident? They have bullied the Yankees at home. Their plan has been perfect. And then who's going game 5? Kevin Gausman. We just saw what he did to the Yankees. And then if he runs into a little bit of trouble, oh, look, here comes Trey Savage. We just saw what he did to the Yankees. The Blue Jays put up 23 runs in 2 games at home. It doesn't matter who's on the mound. So for them, I agree with you. I think this is a house money game, even though that sounds weird. Like a house money game shouldn't be game 4 of a game 5 series, but I think this one in particular is.
I don't think you want to. I wouldn't. Again, I would not burn Savage in this. The only way I would do it again, if you have a lead and you've gotten through 4 innings with a lead or something like that, and you can just bridge to the end of the game. Then maybe you put your foot on their throats if you can. But personally, I would just save Gausman and Savage for that final game, and hope that you can still just kind of steal it and not even get to that point. But they're still set up very well to win this series, even if the Yankees have some momentum right now. I think they certainly have. Like I would pick the Yankees in this game. I would. I think the Yankees should be the favorite in game 4, but I still think the Blue Jays ultimately win the series.
Let me check the line real quick on BetMGM. I want to see how big of a favorite they make them because it's expected that they're going to be, especially after Cam Schlittler turns together a performance like that. All right, BetMGM. Let's see what you got. Dee-doo. All right. Go to the MLB tab. First of all, the Cubs are a favorite against the Brewers. Small favorite. The Tigers are a short favorite against the Mariners. Yankees are minus 180.
All right.
That's a bigger favorite than Yamamoto against the Phillies. Why are we minus 180? What is that? I mean, we shouldn't be minus 180.
A lot of Yankees fans putting some money down after Judge got them in their feelings tonight. I don't know.
Just Stan from Long Island, just push the chips in. He's like, we're there. Cubs fans too, might as well just go out on top. Tigers fans, we're going out on top. Interesting prices. I'm going to have to dive into these tonight. Maybe I'll have some action tomorrow. But for our final game, I agree with you. Yankees win in a rout. Just kidding. I'm so nervous. Game 3, I'm because you know what they did to us, Fink? They made me believe again. How dare they? How dare they? I was so ready to make that video and just I accepted it. I had accepted the Yankees season was over. I thought the Blue Jays played such incredible baseball that there was just, we couldn't overcome it. And maybe that's just me and my Yankee fan brain. But I feel like that was the general attitude here, is that, yeah, Yankees might steal one, but how can you not lean towards the Blue Jays side? And then a win like that, they just reeled me back in. Baseball is not good for my heart. Game 3, Phillies Dodgers. Aaron Nola versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Aaron Nola against the Dodgers has one start this year. Solid, quality start. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned. He's got a 6.97 ERA on the road, though, Fink. I was a little bit surprised to see him get the ball ahead of Ranger Suarez, who was likely going to follow him when I think he inevitably struggles. But Nola has had some good postseason starts, but so has Ranger. But Aaron Nola ended the season on a high note, but it was against the Twins. 8 innings, a 1-run ball. I was watching a little bit. He looked great, but it was the Twins, so it's hard to draw a lot from that. But what I do know is that Ranger Suarez ended the year poorly, and you would know just as well as I, if not more. What's the problem with Ranger Suarez? When Ranger Suarez is cold, he's cold. When Ranger Suarez is hot, he could go toe-to-toe with anybody, anywhere. Like that Game 5, when I watched him 2 years ago against the Braves in Citizens Bank Park, he was getting through innings in 7 pitches and not even reacting to it. It felt like a regular season game in April against the Pirates for him. Slow heartbeat. But what happens sometimes is when he's not precise, he doesn't have electric stuff, so you can really get to him. And I think that's what Rob Thompson and the Phillies are thinking right now, is that we don't have hot Ranger. Nola at least ended the season on a high note. Before we even get into Yamamoto, thoughts on that decision by Rob Thompson? Or maybe it's the Phillies front office, whoever made that decision.
I also think, Nola has always started games. Ranger has the experience coming out of the bullpen. So my guess is that's a big part of it. Is just, all right, Nola's going to be at his best starting the game. We're not going to have him. I'm trying to look to see if he's ever had a relief appearance. Never in the postseason.
That's a great point.
So I think, yeah, he's never been out of the bullpen his entire career. 285 regular season starts, 285 games, 10 postseason starts, 10 games. So I think that's basically what they're going with here. I'll tell you, when and I know we're supposed to just be focusing on this game, but when I was trying to see who was pitching, and I just pulled up the probables, and I saw that the Dodgers had Yamamoto, Glasnow, and Ohtani lined up, and you just see Nola and TBD. I'm like, there's just no world that the Phillies are winning this series. Now,
Chris Sanchez can beat anyone anywhere.
And the reality is, it's probably Nola, Chris Sanchez, and Luzardo, and so the Phillies, probably are a little more, prepared. But again, when you just look at the page right now, and it just says Nola with his 6 ERA versus Yamamoto, and then you have Glasnow and Ohtani lined up, it just looks so lopsided.
And 2 games in LA.
Yeah. It's crazy because the Dodgers, you always think that they start the series at home, but this year, not the case. It feels to me like this series is over, but I mean, it is a really good Phillies team. But they're going to need Nola and Suarez to just have a gritty performance. I don't know. It's because, I mean, you really think Yamamoto is going to struggle too much pitching at home? I mean, it's not like that Phillies lineup has looked good so far. I feel like Yamamoto could shove and go 8.
Yeah. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. They got him going game 3. I know he's normally their game 2 starter, but still, they just have an embarrassment of riches over there in LA. Let's talk about Yamamoto for a second. Against the Phillies, he has 1 start against them. What do you think he did?
7 scoreless.
6 scoreless. I mean, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do with Yamamoto at home? Because this series is different from the other ones. Toronto wins both games at home. Now the Yankees have an opportunity to answer at home. The Brewers win 2 games at home. They have an opportunity to answer. The Cubs do at home. The Phillies lost 2 at the bank. And now you go to LA, backs against the wall, with a guy with a 6.97 ERA on the road facing Yamamoto. We talk about how Turner, Schwarber, and Harper haven't done anything this series. 2 for 21 so far. Ohtani strikes out every at bat. They haven't gotten anything from him. What if he has 1 home run? Then what does the Dodgers offense look like? Mookie hasn't even been that great. He's been fine, but he hasn't been Mookie Betts. This has been the Teoscar Hernandez show. And they're up 2-0, and they beat them both at the bank. They beat Christopher Sanchez, which nobody does at the bank this year. Wasn't even a good Dodgers game. They're scary. And with Roki now coming in at the 9th, all they got to do is piece it together. If Yamamoto gives him 7, hands it off to Sheehan?
Or Vesia, maybe.
Vesia. Then to Roki. It's over. And I don't want it to be over. I want a 5-game series. I want the Phillies to fight here. I just don't know how it works. Give me the path to the Phillies winning. Does it have to be what do you feel more confident in? A dominant Nola start or the Phillies offense getting after Yamamoto? What do you think is more? I know. What do you think is more likely? Because you can't win without one of them at least.
I think I'm confident. I'm more confident in a Schwarber 3-run homer in the 5th inning, and the Phillies somehow piecing it together and holding the Dodgers at bay.
But that kind of implies Nola pitches really well, or the combo of Nola and Ranger pitches well. So you feel good about that then?
Oh no, I don't feel good about that.
Okay.
I'm just you asked me to lay out.
Put you at a quarter.
Yeah, you asked me to lay out how it could happen, and that was the best thing I could come up with. But nah, I mean, I don't feel great about Nola going up against this lineup, but I guess that's the best that they can do right now. And I mean, you're talking about a veteran. I mean, I think it's kind of like watching Luis Castillo the other day, where it doesn't have to look pretty, but sometimes a veteran can just kind of pick and choose the guys that they walk and just navigate a lineup and survive. So can they get those 10 outs from Aaron Nola? That's what they need. They need 10 outs from Nola, 10 outs from Ranger, and then you're getting close to being able to get the ball at the Rand. But I don't know, man.
Modern baseball. Give me 10 outs and
10
don't
outs.
get shelled. Give me 10 outs and don't get shelled. Phillies fans, I'm curious what you guys are going to think in the comments section about this game. What I will say too, Fink, I don't know if you saw Twitter. I've just been unloading on the Dodgers to win the World Series. I bet him at plus 550. I bet him at plus 260. I bet him again today at plus 175. I have an uncomfortable amount of money on them to win the World Series. But what I will say is bet responsibly, and I've never been more confident in a World Series winner. I just think if the bullpen is moderately fixed, they're going to run through everyone. And I love the Brewers. I think whoever gets out of the American League is going to have a decent shot. But the Dodgers win in 6 is what I mean by decent shot. Do you think I'm on the right path here, or do you think that someone's upsetting them?
I mean, I think the Brewers are really good. So I think
they are really good.
I think it's gonna be a really awesome NLCS if that's ultimately what we end up getting. So I think there are teams that can knock them off, and I do wonder, will that bullpen Achilles heel ultimately bite them? But also, once you get into a 7-game series, their advantage with their rotation just gets even more and more pronounced, where now all of a sudden you're able to have some of these guys, on their throw days helping out that bullpen too. So yeah, I mean, the way that it's so crazy because last year it was the inverse, where it was like, all right, that Dodgers bullpen's unbelievable, and it was just trying to figure out how they were going to piece together the starts. Now it's just this rotation is like so loaded. I can't even remember a team in recent memory that's had this many good starting pitchers that they can roll out there. We're like, Tyler Glasnow is an afterthought in this rotation right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wouldn't shock us at all if this series got to a game 4 if Glasnow pitched a gem. I mean, he's got some of the best stuff in the game. So yeah, it's the Dodgers absolutely, I think, have reclaimed the title of being the favorite. I know they were probably the betting favorite all year, but I think there was points of the season where we had questions about the Dodgers for sure. Now I think it's gotten to the point where it's like, oh shit, here's all the talent, and you're seeing it on the biggest stage. And one thing that I haven't mentioned that's been on my mind this ever since we started talking about this game, you just know Kike is going to get a big double off of Ranger. You just know it. I mean, it's guaranteed, right? It's got to happen.
I love that matchup. You're right. I even tweeted out when he had that little dribbler that was hit at 35.4 miles an hour. I was like, even when he sucks, he's clutch. He's built for the moment. One last thing on Milwaukee and why I'm a little bit concerned about them, like you said, in a 7-game series. That's when I think they'll feel the loss of Woodruff. Yeah. Like if we got Yamamoto Priester game 2, not Yamamoto Woodruff, I think we're just having different conversations. Now, with that said, that bullpen in the playoffs can hedge some of it. So it's going to be, I think, an incredible NLCS between these two. I think the Brewers are going to test them. Like, I think this is a 6, potentially 7-game series, but I think the Dodgers get through. So if you agree with that analysis, bet responsibly the Dodgers to win the World Series. That'll do it for this episode of the Just Baseball Show. Fink, I know I'm holding you long. You're on the East Coast. It's 11:45 over here in Chicago. It's probably close to 1 a.m. over there on the East Coast. I appreciate you joining me.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how time zones work. Again, it's late. I'm trying to figure out time zones. It's late for me too. Not quite as late as you. So Fink, really, really appreciate you coming on. Again, everybody listening, Fink does such a great job with Locked On Mets. Does an amazing job as a managing editor at Just Baseball. Any cool articles coming out?
We got a lot of award stuff going. So we have like our all Masher team came out, all rookie team. We did a lot of fun stuff there. We're going to be doing top 10s by position coming up in the next couple of weeks. So we're doing a lot of kind of award stuff to bridge to our off season. And then the off season content is going to be awesome once we get to free agency and all that good stuff. So a lot of stuff on the site right now. You can check out. Again, a lot of award stuff is what we've been doing lately.
Well, I really appreciate it. You are our 2016 Ben Zobrist, the ultimate utility man. Thanks.
You know what? That's an article I got to write. We're giving out our first annual Ben Zobrist Award for the best utility man. Love that. Stay tuned for that too.
Stay tuned on justbaseball.com and stay tuned here on the Just Baseball Show. The best way to support the show is by leaving a 5-star review, whether that be on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you are watching us all on YouTube, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Hit that big red subscribe button so you're here for all the lives. You're here for all of our videos. Comment down below. What did you think about this episode? What are your predictions? Give it all to us in the comment section below. And of course, again, guys, really appreciate it. Just hit the like button on this stream. It's the best way to support without spending a dime. If you want to join our Discord, best baseball group chat in the world, you can find that link in the episode description. For Ryan Finkelstein, I'm Peter Apple. And thankfully, we'll see you tomorrow. With that, thank you, everybody.